Today the Lord is asking us to consider seeing the right way of ordering and focusing and directing our love. At the terebinth of Mamre, the Lord appeared to Abraham in 3 messengers. And when Abraham saw these messengers, he immediately got up to meet them. It is interesting, there are 3 messengers, and when he addresses them, he says, "Sir," and he bows down. Some writers point it out that it could be the beginning of the revelation about the Trinity, 3 persons. And when he bows down before them, he addresses them as "Sir," one God. So you can dig deeper into that. Immediately, Abraham had a focus for his love, attention, devotion, and time. He begged them to stay. Water was brought to them to wash their feet. And the whole process, as we have heard, began. It was a long one. And Abraham is the CEO. He tells Sarah to make bread, and the servant goes to prepare beef for the visitors. And when everything is ready, Abraham presents it to the guests. And you remember when he saw them, he was seated. When he had given them refreshments, they sat comfortably under the shade. And now Abraham is standing, ministering to them. All that change of action indicates the focusing of love, the giving of attention, and devotion of the heart is all centered on those 3 guests. And it's clear hospitality and generosity is Abraham's way of life. This should become our way of life. Our way of life is to focus our love on God. He sends messengers to us, and when we encounter them, as the book of Hebrews chapter 13 tells us, that some people have ministered to angels without being aware. It's grace that leads us there. It is grace that helps us to focus our love on those who come in a self-presenting way without our invitation. And when they came, Abraham did not delegate. He immediately began attending to them. He didn't tell them, "Wait for time, I shall be back to you." No. He never told them, "You are not on my schedule today," although he was having siesta. This is what we should do immediately. There should be an outpouring of love. As we saw last Sunday, when the Good Samaritan saw the man beaten up on the road and left half dead, immediately he came to him, looked at him, and began pouring wine. He poured oil on his wounds to treat him, and he poured resources by taking him to the inn where he would be perfectly taken care of. That should be the style of pouring love, focusing it to whatever self-presenting situation God puts across to us. And this situation can come in the persons of the poor, of the hungry, the homeless, the neglected, the sidelined, even fellow pilgrims, and those who are in dire need. There should be an immediate outpouring of love in a generous way. And when our Lord goes to the house of Martha, Martha, as the head of that home, welcomed him in. And immediately she began serving. I guess Jesus had other disciples with him. It could have been big numbers. So when she begins cooking and everything connected with the kitchen, she gets a little worn out. She became anxious. She became restless. And she made her condition clear to Jesus, that why don't you tell my sister Mary, not this Mary, to help me with the serving. You see, when things are not focused on Jesus and are focused on work, what has been hospitality becomes a project. What has been hospitality becomes a burden, an operation. And if this is the case, then anxiety kicks in. We become a bit impatient, and we try to make God aware of our condition. And mind you, Jesus is not the head of the house. He doesn't set rules for the house. That day I wondered where even Lazarus was. Lazarus is not around, it seems. Maybe he could have stepped in. But Mary is busy at the feet of the Lord. Martha is caring when she prepares the meal and does everything connected with making people physically comfortable. Mary, too, is caring, but the point of focus is different. Her focus is on Jesus. She is also offering hospitality to him by listening to his word, which feeds the heart. And I think this is what Jesus says is more important. We need the two people. And each of these persons is present in each one of you. In you, there is a Martha who wants or has a desire to make achievement, to work hard, to raise a family, to make a difference, to make accomplishments. That is the Martha in you. We need that Martha. There is also a Mary in you, a Mary who is interested in pausing for some time, to step aside. This does not mean you are idle, but you look into what is taking place in your life, you listen to God with attention, and you are being given a sense of direction for the next moments of life. Prayer of reflection. These two are important in life, and we need them. And make sure that you balance. One time you are a Martha, and the other you are a Mary. At the end of the day, we should all become disciples of the Lord, seated at his feet, listening to him for greater wisdom about life. And once we are given this wisdom, we shall be able to focus our love on him and then be able to direct it perfectly to where it should be. To where it should be by doing deeds of compassion, by following the call of loving friendship, by becoming a comforting support to those who are in need, to be ready to help anytime, to show a warm and a generous heart to all people, and to be dependable helpers. In these ways, we shall be those true Marthas and Marys who make the life of the church thrive, more enlightening, and bring spiritual refreshment. St. Paul in the second reading is rejoicing in what he is, because he too managed to focus his love in an undivided attention, concern, and devotion to the will of God and the mission of the gospel. And because of his focusing, he is satisfied with what he did. And you know, at certain points, Paul was a Martha, and at other times, he was a Mary. Let's focus our love, guided by these two personalities, so that in all ways, our life may become a source and form of generosity and hospitality that brings healing to other people's lives. The Lord be with you.